welcome back. So this is our final lesson, and it is going to be our shortest lesson, but it is also very, very important. Mindfulness. So first of all, why do we want to practice mindfulness? Mindfulness is the best way to regulate our nervous system and get out of fight or flight and into stay and play or rest and digest. Mindfulness has been shown to boost mood, increase brain function, reduces anxiety, balances hormones, and relaxes the body. And one of the ways it can do all of this is because it gets us out of that fight or flight. So we are automatically reducing our cortisol levels, increasing our feel-good hormones, prioritizing our digestion, and balancing our blood sugar. Things that we have been going over in this course as two keys to finding that hormone balance. So here are some tips for how to incorporate mindfulness into your daily routine. So before we go through them, I want to point out that it is important to try and be consistent, but it doesn't need to take a lot of time to do these mindfulness exercises. Just a couple minutes a day can lead to profound results. So the first bullet is breathing. Your breath is such a powerful tool to keep you anchored in the present moment. And practicing breathing exercises can be really helpful to get you out of fight or flight and into that rest and digest state. So two types of breathing are the box breathing and 4-7-8 breath that I find very helpful. So you may have heard of box breathing, but basically you're going to inhale for a count of 4, then you will hold the breath for a count of 4, you exhale for a count of 4, hold the breath for a count of 4, and repeat this process for several breaths, calming yourself. The other technique is the 4-7-8 breathing. So you can play around with that, breathing in for 4, out, holding the breath for 7, and then breathing out for 8. So there are more resources on this breath work at the end of the lesson. Getting outside in nature is shown to be incredibly helpful for getting out of our fight or flight state and staying mindful. We want to do this without ear pods, not talking on the phone, just you and nature, looking around and noticing the beauty all around you. Even if it's chilly, wrap yourself up and get outside. It will be worth it. One of my favorite ways to bring myself back into the present moment and to appreciate the smaller things in life is to do the 5 senses exercise. So I keep it simple and just notice one thing that I can see, one thing that I can feel or touch, something I can hear, something I smell, and then something I taste. So give that a try. It can be very, very helpful. Another thing you can do is make gratitude part of your day. So some people like to do this when they wake up. They have a gratitude journal, or maybe before bed, listing 1 or 2 things they're grateful for. Something I like to do is at dinner time or meals, have everyone go around and say what they are grateful for. It helps to bring you together as a family and realize what we do have to be grateful for. The next bullet point, meditation, or just sitting quietly for 5 minutes. It can be super challenging. I know when I first tried to do this, I was very frustrated. I found that I could not shut my mind down at all. A million thoughts would seem to come in, even more than regular. Then when I realized that if I just came back to my breath or maybe a mantra, that the thoughts were always going to be there, that the goal wasn't just to eliminate the thoughts, but to just notice them, not judge them, and say, okay, we're going back to the breath. We're just here in this moment. And if you develop a meditation practice over time, the benefits can really be mind-blowing with the amount of peace and serenity you will have in your daily life. Again, you don't need to sit for 15, 20 minutes twice a day to get the benefits. You can start really small with just 1 minute twice a day. Or if meditation is too woo-woo for you, just sitting quietly by yourself and just whatever pops into your head, just notice it. That's perfectly fine. I do have a meditation at the end of the lesson, so please check that out, and I hope you'll join me in it. And the last thing is a creative outlet. When you're creative, doing an art class, listening to music, maybe just spontaneously dancing around your house, you are have no choice but to be in the moment. Your brain is learning something new or enjoying something that brings it pleasure. So it's like natural dopamine release, and it's a really great way to keep yourself mindful and happy. All right, so here is your action item for this lesson. I want you to grab your journal and think about what is your biggest worry in the future. And how would you feel if you didn't have that concern anymore? Then take some time and look into what is your biggest regret in the past. And again, what would it feel like if you just let that regret go? Then pick one of the mindfulness techniques we discussed and practice it anytime you feel overwhelmed or anxious over the next 3 days. Note in your journal how you feel after doing this and if it helped.